Your mindset and goals are probably keeping you slow. So in this video, I'm going to explain how to have a healthy mindset about cubing, how to use that mindset to create goals that push you to improve, then mix those things together to achieve actual results in competition. I've been a speedcuber for over 12 years and am training to become world class at a handful of events now. And this is the actual mindset and method of goal setting I use to push myself to improve. The first big thing is that I really want to win. Real talk. You hear a lot of people talk about detaching yourself from results and not caring about results and how you do, but the truth is I want to get fast. I want to win. Personally, I'm a hyper-competitive person. I don't care about how good I could be. I don't care about doing the best that I can or bettering myself. Those things are nice, but really the thing that drives me is that I want to win. I want to get results. I want to perform on competition day. And I think most people can at least sort of understand this sentiment. Maybe the whole process of improvement thing is nice, but what you want is to see a faster time on the timer. But there's a problem with that. We can't control results. We have to focus ourselves on the process of growth, not on winning or achieving outcomes. Results, like getting faster at cubing or achieving a win in competition, is a lagging indicator of the work that you put in to grow. So results in a lot of aspects of life take different forms. I'm going to use the gym because it's something that I personally do. If you go to the gym and you lift weights for one day, you don't walk out of the gym and instantly be way stronger. You have to go home, be sore, sleep, eat more food, and then you get a teensy bit stronger the next day. If you go to the gym every single day for 90 days in a row, along with sleeping well and eating well, then 90 days of effort later, you start to notice that, hey, my body looks a little different. Hey, I'm a little bit stronger. Your appearance and strength is a lagging indicator of the work that you put in. The second thing is that results are out of your control, but definitionally, results are just skill manifested into an outcome. So results is like how fast you perform at a competition. But how fast you are at a competition is generally about how fast you were at home, plus or minus some standard deviation, because either you were nervous and got slower, or you performed really well under pressure and you got slightly faster. Results don't come out of nowhere. They are directly linked to the skill of the person competing. So how then do we work on our skill? Well, you develop skill by putting in work and then giving that work time to sink in. That's it. So if skill is work given time to sink in, what we can control is the work we put into cubing and the amount of time we give that work to grow. That's it. We can't control skill, but we can control the work we put in. And we can't control results, but we can control the amount of time we give our skill to manifest into results. So first, how do we control time? Well, there's a couple of cubers who I want to highlight here. Felix Zemdegs went into a world championship in 2011 as the clear favorite to win the whole competition. But in the final round, he kind of choked and ended up getting second. Even though he was for sure the most skilled cuber in the room at the time, he didn't actually win. He had all the skill, but the result didn't come. 2 years later, at the 2013 World Championship, he took home the gold, and again in 2015. If you work well and develop skill, enough time makes a result inevitable. Yi Hang, our current world champion, is another example of this. Going into the 2023 World Championship, he was the clear favorite to win, but ended up getting second due to a bit of a choke at the last second. In 2025, this year, he went into the World Championship final and ended up taking home the win. It's questionable whether he'll be able to continue this into 2027, being the clear favorite, not necessarily winning. But time makes results inevitable if you are skilled enough that those results should be what comes from it. Basically, in order to control time, you just have to plan to keep competing. You have to plan to stick around for a really long time. Just don't quit. In business, one of the best ways to make lots of money is to pick one thing and just do it forever. There are a lot of lines of business where there's a gold rush. Everybody comes and tries to make money on some trend, and then 95% of the people who are working on that trend leave, and there are only a few people left. If those people stay there for even longer, eventually they'll become super, super rich. The guy who owns Panda Express got super, 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 super rich from doing something that's really, really hard. Running a restaurant, using normal, low-skilled workers, selling very low profit per item things, food. But now, the guy who owns Panda Express is extremely wealthy because he stuck with the same thing for his entire life. And now, even though each restaurant on its own doesn't make a lot of money, he has so many of them and owns the dirt they all sit on and has done it so many times that he has an exact process and system for doing more of it that he's earned a ton of money. He didn't do that by being exceptional on his first restaurant. He did that by sticking with the same business model for forever. With cubing, if you just choose to dedicate yourself to cubing and not quit for 5 or 10 years, you will achieve fast results eventually. Matti Hiroto Inaba is another great example of this. Matti has been fast enough to get a sub-5 average for probably 5 years now. Think about that. He has been at the level of being first, second, third in the world for almost 5 years. And it took him all the way until the North American All-Stars Championship in November of 2025 to actually break the North American record average. His results took forever to catch up to the skill that he has at cubing. But eventually, because he has stuck around the game for so long, the results showed up. Not quitting is very, very, very difficult, but at least it's straightforward. As long as you keep trying, you're adding time, which increases the likelihood that your skill turns into results. The other thing within our control, not just time, is the work we put in. I can't control how fast I improve, but I can control what work I put in and how much I do. Like, I can't control that even though I've practiced for 4 hours a day, that 4 hours of practice doesn't seem to be improving my times yet, but I can keep doing it every single day. There's a weird dichotomy in there. I have to have what I like to call patient urgency. Urgency implies that you're antsy, that you have to do something really hard and really fast right now. It means that there's an impending deadline, there's pressure to achieve something today. But patience is the opposite of that. Patience says it's okay if I don't achieve something today. It's okay if it takes me 1, 2, 5, 10 years to achieve something. Mixing these two things together means both being completely okay if your skill and results take a long, long time to develop, but every single day waking up and feeling an urgency to sit down and grind your heart out, to work super, super hard to improve at your craft. How do you keep urgency in each day while also being patient about the results that will come over a 5 or 10 year time span? That's a really hard thing to do. I don't have a perfect answer for you. But knowing this skill, being able to wake up every day with a fire under your feet, but still have the maturity to say, I'm going to work as hard as I can today and be completely okay if results don't come today, that is a very difficult skill, and one that I'm trying to develop, and pretty much every skilled athlete, competitor, and person improving at their discipline is trying to do. Friendly reminder, a lot of people mention in the comments or in their messages to me that they loved my content, and for some reason they forgot to subscribe to the channel. So just do me a quick favor, double check if you're subscribed to the channel. It really helps the algorithm and gets this video pushed out to more people, so thank you. Okay, so patient urgency. What work should I be urgent about doing today? If I'm going to be patient about results in the long term, I better be doing the right things each day. How do I find the current point of highest leverage? Well, there's two factors in finding something to work on that has the most leverage in getting you results. One of them is your time horizon, like how long do I have before I need to get results from this work? And the other one is just how skilled you are. What are you good at? What are you bad at? What do you need to upkeep? What is okay to let it fall away? So time horizon is something like, am I competing in a week and a half? Or am I okay to get worse for like 6 or 8 months before getting faster again? So I have a competition coming up in about 10 days. Because of that, I'm not learning anything crazy or new. I'm almost entirely just doing solves and drills that will help me perform well on competition day. But I also want to learn full ZB, which is an algorithm set of almost 800 algorithms. I'm not going to start that today because that would be information going in that would take me a really long time to learn, internalize, and use well. If my time horizon for improvement is a week and a half, that's going to mean the highest leverage point for me to get more skilled is very different than if my time horizon is 2, 3, 5 years, which this goes back to time in the game. The longer your time horizon is, the better your point of leverage becomes, because putting in work today has a much longer time frame to manifest over. So time isn't just about giving your skill more time to give you results. It's also about having the ability to put work in now that will take 3, 6, 9, 12 months to show itself. But that's okay, because you're not trying to get results today. You're trying to get results a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. So that's one, is when do I need results from this work? The other factor in determining the point of highest leverage is what skills do I need to learn, or what skills do I need to keep up? So different cubers at different levels of speed need to learn different stuff. If you're a brand new cuber, you need to learn F2L. If you know F2L, you should probably learn a few last layer algorithms. If you know a few last layer algorithms, then the next skill to learn is probably work on your cross. The next skill is probably efficient F2L solutions, and so on and so forth. Depending on what skills you already know, there are different things you should work on. And depending on what skills you need to upkeep, there are different things you also need to devote time to. I'm going to have another video coming up sometime in the future about this topic because it's such a huge thing to think about in the context of cubing. But find the one thing that is the highest return on time put in based on when you need the improvement by and what things you already know. Once you have that leverage point, how do you actually work on it? Lots of people know that cross to F2L transition is their weakest point. If I had a nickel for every person who has told me that cross to +1 is really hard for them, I'd be a rich man, but none of them are improving. So how do you work on something once you actually identify it as one of your weaknesses? Well, 4 main steps to this, and I'll move my camera over here. The first thing is you have to split that particular thing down to its component parts. So let's take cross to F2L transition, something that almost every intermediate cuber talks about being a weak point. You have your cross solutions, you have how aware you are of complicated solutions as a piece of that, you have your ability to predict in inspection where pieces will be, you have your ability to implement optimal F2L solutions, you have color neutrality. There are a whole bunch of different aspects of that skill that you have to think about and how you could improve each one of those. So once you actually have a list of all the different component parts of a skill, then you have to find ways to directly practice those component parts. Here's one example of this. As I've been learning Cross +1, I realized that there are 2 different skills of learning Cross +1. One skill is learning to inspect deeply. Like from the start of the solve, can I plan 10, 15, 20, 30 moves into the solve? But a completely different skill from that is learning to inspect fast. I can very consistently plan Cross +1 now, but I can't consistently do it quickly. Practicing processing information fast requires one practice method, timing your inspection and forcing yourself to move quickly, and practicing inspection depth requires something different. Turning off the timer, getting scrambles that have solutions in them that you can look really far into, and taking a long time to double, triple, quadruple check your inspection and trying to go as far as you can. Because I have a competition coming up in 2 weeks, I'm directly practicing inspection speed now. But after that competition, I will have multiple parts of my practice dedicated to each component part of Cross +1. Some to identifying complicated X-cross solutions, some to inspecting as far into a solve as I can using simple solutions, and some where I practice under pressure my fast inspection muscle. You have to have particular ways to practice each sub-skill of the thing you're working on. Then, once you have particular ways to practice, you need some sort of goal that has an outcome to it. My goal for Cross +1 is every single timed inspection solve be able to see cross plus first pair. That is an outcome. That is something that I can say, yes, I've done this, or no, I haven't. But I'm not too stressed about that outcome goal right now. What you really need to stress about is your input goal. An input goal is the work you're putting in. And a good input goal needs to be trackable. It needs to have specific things in it so that you can say, yes, I did this, or no, I didn't. There can't be any question in your mind about the outcome. The input goal needs to be so high, you need to be doing so much work that it'd be crazy to not improve. There are a lot of cubers who are like, I don't understand why I'm not progressing from 15 to 12 seconds. And then I ask how many solves they're doing. And they say, well, I do 12 to 100 a day, depending on the day. And I say, well, how many is it? Is it 12 or is it 100? And they say, well, it's 12 most days, but 100 on the weekends. Doing a couple hundred solves a week is not that many. You could improve, but if you did 300 solves every single day, you think you'd get faster? Yes, you would. So you need ways to directly practice a skill. You need some sort of goal to work toward, but then you need an input goal, a measurable thing you're going to do, and do it so much that it'd be completely crazy for you to not get faster. And then the last part of this is you have to work on that goal long enough that you can actually test it. Tons of people will try a new way of practicing and then after a week say, I'm not getting faster. I'm not getting better at doing my cross better. I'm not memorizing full PLL yet. You almost always have to spend 6 or 8 weeks, 2 months practicing the same thing before you can fairly judge if it's working or not. When I first started getting coaching for my 3x3, I actually got slower for the first 4 weeks of coaching. But then by week 6, I started to see good results, and by week 9, I was seeing incredible results. It takes a couple of months to learn how to practice things, to get over the initial hump of your brain adjusting to a new difficult skill. You have to pick something that is concrete, do a lot of it, and do it for so long that you can actually tell if it's working or not. Ooh, that is not what I meant to do. Once you do all of that, then comes the hard part, actually doing the work. So a lot of cubers are really good at figuring out what their weaknesses is, breaking down what they have to do about it, setting a goal, making a plan, but then they don't actually do the solves. Fast cubers practice a ton. Timon has talked about practicing 6 or more hours a day. When I did an interview with Dylan Miller, he said he does 500 to 600 solves a day, some days as high as 2,000. Yiheng has interviewed and said that he did anywhere from 400 to 700 solves a day as he was approaching getting sub 6. It takes a lot of work to get fast at cubing, so you do have to buckle down and actually work on it. There isn't a shortcut once you have the plan. Another mindset thing, as you make these plans and do the work, is to expect bad days to happen. Bad days are very normal. Like statistically, 1 out of every 10 days is in the bottom 10%. That's a super obvious statement, but the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, wait a second. Just mathematically, some days are better, some days are worse. Good days happen, bad days happen. That's a fact. So if you have a bad practice day, don't get frustrated at yourself. Don't assume your practice plan isn't working anymore. That's just a normal part of the process. Expect it. Keep doing the work anyway. Eventually, if you show up and do the work every single day, you will have a good day. And on that good day, you will have great results and it'll be really exciting. But you'll never get to those 1 out of 10 good days without also having 1 out of 10 bad days. I hope that idea makes sense, but when I realized that, some days just statistically are better than others. And so I will have bad and good days. It is what it is. Just keep going. And for every bad day, I know that eventually there will be a good day to balance it out. And on top of that, something else I've noticed about cubing is that bad days tend to be really, really bad. When your mind is not in cubing mode, you just can't solve. You can't inspect well, you don't react fast, you don't turn fast. That's fine. If you get 10, 15, 20% slower on a bad day, you go from averaging 15 to 20. That's fine. Just do your input goal. Do your 50 solves a day. Memorize your 2 algorithms, no matter how hard it is. Then on another day, that same amount of work, you're gonna be like completely in the zone. Expect the highs and lows. That's why it's so important to have input-focused goals, which I think I talk about later. Once you do this, you identify a weakness, you work on it, you give it time, and then reevaluate where you are in your weaknesses, you're officially in what I call the cycle of improvement. And I drew this out on a little graph because I like whiteboards. You have to find a thing that you're bad at in cubing, and then find particular ways to get better at it, Make a plan for how to target those weaknesses, follow the plan and track it. Like write down how much you're doing. Otherwise, you can totally scam yourself and like lie to yourself in your brain that you are actually practicing. Writing it down is the greatest thing ever. And then once that's done, you have to stop and go, am I actually following my plan well? This is a really interesting point. Maybe you make a plan, but you find I'm not doing that third step of the plan. Like, I was planning on practicing for 2 hours a day, but I'm only actually practicing 90 minutes a day. Well, that's fine. Now I can adjust my plan to keep targeting the right weaknesses, but make it something that I'll actually follow. I'm not saying change the plan. I'm saying moderately adjust it so that you can follow it better. Slightly tweak it so that your adherence goes up. Then once you have a plan that's workable, just keep following it. Like 1, 2, 3 months of just following the plan every single day. And after you have come up with a plan that you can stick to that works for you, you've given it 2-3 months of work, now turn around and evaluate. Is this actually helping me grow? And what are my weaknesses? Now you can do the cycle again and again and again and again, always focusing on internally, what things can I work on or do, and track those things. The results will come with time. So, I had it in this presentation. Well, that's funny. So now that you're actually taking action, now that you're improving, what goals should I set? So everything I've talked about so far is like mindset, improvement stuff, and what I call micro goals. But how do you set macro goals? And when do you set macro and micro goals? And also, another thing, how do you avoid setting middle goals? Let me explain this idea of macro, micro, and middle goals. Macro goals are like your long-term. Over the next 5 years, I'll make a major championship final. Over the next 10 years, I'll break a world record. These goals are result goals. They are an outcome. They are something that you can say, I achieved this or I didn't. The point of setting this goal is to get you trending in the right direction. It is not necessarily to be something that you hit and achieve. Let me say this again. An ultra macro goal is not necessarily something you have to achieve on its timeline. The point is to get you trending in the right direction. It is like a guiding star. Something that a lot of high achieving people do wrong is they set a macro goal that feels within reach. Then what happens is all of their work gets throttled back so that they hit the goal at its timeline. They make an achievable long-term goal, and that goal becomes their ceiling. It becomes the stopping point, instead of being something that helps them improve their daily work and run as fast as they can toward the goal. This is why the biggest companies are always revising their growth plan and saying, next year we want to do this and this and this. And often they undershoot their goals because they keep adjusting their goals up. It's because big macro goals are meant to be directional, not always achieved. So with a big long-term goal like this, set a long-term goal that's directional, that you have to get yourself on pace for, that it will be a stretch to get to, and then forget about it. Because you can't control results. If you spend every day thinking about results, you'll cripple yourself. What you do need to focus on is micro goals. I like to think in terms of weeks. This week, I will do X, Y, and Z. And the point is to force massive action today. In patient urgency, patience is about your macro goal, and urgency is about your micro goal. The point of this is each day you should wake up and go, I have so much work to do. Not because you feel the burden of needing to accomplish something in 5 or 10 years, but because today I have a whole list of things to get through. Not outcomes, but processes. Let me explain what I mean by that. I do not say this week at the gym, I must bench press 250 pounds every day. What I do say is I need to go to the gym and perform 3 sets of bench press to failure each day. That's different, right? One of them is here's what I will do, and one of them is here's what I will achieve. I need to make a giant list of things that I have to go do that are specific, that have a yes/no outcome and are measurable. I've already talked about this, setting micro goals for the thing you need to improve on. The interesting thing here, and what I think most people get wrong, is that medium goals are almost always dumb. This is where ambition goes to die. Big long-term goals that help your direction are awesome, right? A 5-year plan to get to a major final, that's awesome. A this week goal to perform 300 solves on 7x7, great, awesome goal. That's gonna push you really hard to improve. But a midterm goal, like in 12 weeks, I want to be sub 12 on 3x3, that almost always is a bad idea. The reason is that you can predict most of the things that will happen in a week. If you have a bad week, that's fine. And if you have a good week, that's fine. You're slightly above or slightly below your expectation that you set at the beginning of the week. But there's a ton of variance within 12 weeks or within, say, 3 months. If you set a goal for 3 months from now and you absolutely blow through it in the first 6 weeks of your goal setting, well, now you have to go back and reevaluate the 3-month goal, and then it wasn't very useful at all. Or if the thing that you're setting out to do turns out to be way, 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 way harder than you think it was going to be, like learning a big alg set or developing your ability to play in cross +1, which is what I've run into recently, you might set a 3-month goal, not hit it, and feel really, really sad about it. What's most helpful is having a super long-term goal that's direction setting, and then a super short-term goal that forces daily action. Anything in the middle is probably poor planning because you can't predict enough of the factors that are going to happen between now and then to make that goal an accurate thing that will be both achievable and push you. You can do that with ultra micro goals. Okay, so that's mindset and that's goal setting. Now, competitions. Competitions are where you actually get results. The outcomes that we all want as speedcubers. So when you go to a competition, what sort of mindset should you have and what sort of goals should you set to maximize the chance that your skills give you results? These are 3 that I'll touch on today. I'm going to have a whole nother video coming up next week about how to perform well in competition. The first one is to be super serious in practice and have tons of fun in competition. So what I mean by this is some people go to competitions and are super locked in and serious and focused at the competition. My mindset is that I'm gonna be super locked in and serious with my practice time, and then when I go to competition, I'm just gonna be goofy and have the best day of my life. The reason is that at a competition, I want to stay as habitual as I possibly can. I'll break down this more in another video, but your brain has front brain and back brain. Front brain is where you think, and back brain is what's habitual. Habitual is where you want to be on championship day, because habitual is what is consistent. Habitual is what you have learned over the last months or years of practicing. And with cubing, you have thousands of habits that go into any one solve. Habits about how you pick up the cube, the way that you turn the cube, the way that you process information, the way that you look ahead, the way that you memorize algorithms. The second you get super serious and start overthinking your solve, all those habits fly out the window, your front brain activates, and you start actively thinking through everything about your solve. And then you start noticing, wait, why are my hands so shaky? Is my pinky always there on the cube? How do I re-grip for this one algorithm again? And then your thinking brain takes over and you lose all those good habits that you've set. This is why in competitions, you make mistakes in things that you never knew you could make mistakes on. When I did competitive piano as a high schooler, my recitals and competition days, I would always mess up my big piece at some super easy part of the piece. And the hard parts I would nail because I was super actively there mentally, which meant that the hard stuff that was very difficult, my brain was operating on all cylinders and I could nail it. But the easy parts, my brain would be like, wait, so how do I play this super easy chord again? You've never thought about it for the last 3 months. And then I would totally flub it. So that means that in order to stay habitual, in order to have fun, you actually can't make results goals for a competition. Obviously, we all care about results. I'm going into competitions going, it'd be really nice to get sub 10 this next week. But in order to be in back brain, in order to be habitual, in order to perform well, you have to just go, I'm going to have a good solve. I want to implement good solutions like I practiced. I want to solve in XYZ way like I practiced. Timon does a great job of showing this, I think. He had an average recently where he +2'd out of a very, very, very good time, and he was actually happy about it after the fact. That shows that he was thinking process, not result. That's how winners think. Process goals a little bit more on this. This is what I was just talking about how do you stay out of back brain and how do you stay out of front brain and stay in back brain? Result goals create a false sense of urgency. So like, I have to get sub 10 this round. It gives you this fear that like, this is my one shot to achieve this thing. And then that normally creates one of two things in you. It either creates tension where it's like, I'm nervous and I have to do this, or it creates timidity. Like you're scared to commit and then you kind of fumble because you're not full sending it. False urgency is really, really bad. But if you have a results goal, if you have a process goal, that doesn't have urgency. It's just every solve, I'm either going to do this or I'm not. And you can kind of look at it objectively and go, I did this, it was good, or I didn't do it, it was bad. You need result goals in practice. That's why I said set result goals about the improvement section and set result goals in the macro. You have to have something to work toward. But in a competition, the work is all done. At competition day, you are not working anymore. The results are just going to flow out of all the work you've done before the day. You do not need goals on competition day to push you to work harder. You just need a goal to keep you in a good mindset. So, ultimate takeaways. If you're a cuber watching this video, what do you do now? First, set a proper long-term goal. You know yourself, you know how much you love cubing, you know how ambitious you are. So set some goal on a 1, 3, 5, 10-year time horizon that you believe fits yourself and what you want to do. It's okay if you don't hit it exactly, but it should be directionally the way you want to go. Second, you need to find a weak point in whatever thing that you're solving. And again, I'll have a video coming up soon about how to do this well. Third, you need to come up with a set of practice techniques, inputs, drills that will improve that weak point. Every week I put up a video on this channel about how I practice and improve at cubing. So if you want some inspiration for how I do this, you can go watch those. Then make a micro goal for this week on the things you're going to work on. What drills, how many solves am I going to get done this week? And then make a way to track it. Have a journal where you write it down. Have a spreadsheet where you go do it. I have a spreadsheet where I track every single solve and how much time it takes and what results I get. You can see it. I linked it in my description. Have a way to track that input-based goal. Then actually do the work. Write all of it down so that you can't trick yourself out of it, but stick to the plan. Give it a long time, like at least 8 weeks for whatever goal you made, and have patient urgency. If you set up a big long-term goal, be patient about it. It's okay if your next competition doesn't go great. You're in this for a long time, but every single day, wake up, have a fire under you to improve, do the work it actually takes to improve, and then go to bed knowing, yeah, I worked super hard today. And if results didn't come today, that's fine. I can get up tomorrow and work hard again.